Let's see. Okay, welcome everyone back to Anonymous Addiction Deprogramming Podcast. I've been away for a while. I don't know what happened, but I've been away. I've been doing some shorts, but I met this gentleman, Luke Howard, on Facebook probably a couple days ago, and he messaged me, said, "Bobby, I'd like to come on and do a podcast with you." I said, "Great, it gets me motivated." See, Luke is helping me. He's motivating me just by connecting. That's how this thing works. He has a desire to do something, and I have a desire to accept it, and we connect, and it happens. Cause and effect. Consequences is we're going to be doing a podcast. Luke, tell us something about what you do, how you help people. I know you work with a lot of people that, because this podcast is a lot about addictions, so you help a lot of people with addictions. Tell us how that process works.
Yeah, well, first of all, Bobby, thank you very much for having me on your show. And how I found Bobby is I was on my Facebook, and usually there's a bunch of people whining and complaining about AA and alcohol addiction and woe is me. And I saw some quotes, I saw some inspirational quotes from Bobby and his way of thinking. And I'm like, oh, this guy seems like he's on the same page as me. So I went and checked him out. I saw that you did a podcast. I'm like, oh, this is very interesting. It seems that we're coming from the standing point of we're looking to empower people to overcome their alcohol addiction, as opposed to getting them to join a cult or consistently give us money, so we become their hired friend in the hope that we can heal them, because we're great healers and they can't heal themselves. So we have to heal them because we're godlike beings, he says with sarcasm. So my name is Luke Michael Howard. I'm a clinical hypnotist, but basically what that means is I've accumulated a lot of skills working with people, a lot over addiction and alcohol addiction, but I work with a lot of different issues, from PTSD to trauma, to anxiety, to depression, to chronic pains, and everything in between. But my specialty is helping people overcome addiction, specifically binge drinking. I kind of got into all of this about 25 years ago. How I got into hypnosis, there's a couple of different versions of this story. But the story is essentially, when I was a kid, I had every kind of problem you can imagine, except I was never addicted to anything. Well, actually, that's a lie. There's always an addiction, right? Whether that be internet, whether that be a particular girl, whether that be a job, fitness. There's many different types of addiction. And as I always say, Bobby, not all addictions are created equally. So when I say I was not addicted to anything, I mean no illicit substances that I was putting into my body. And I wasn't sexually abused, thankfully. Other than that, I had every kind of problem you can imagine. I was very fat as a kid. I had asthma. I was agoraphobic. I had anxiety before everyone fucking had anxiety. I had anxiety in 1993 when no one had a name for it. It was just, oh, he's just a bit shy. He's a bit antisocial. He's a bit depressed. We didn't throw this word anxiety around then. But if I look back at it now, yeah, I had a shitload of anxiety as well. Pretty much sequestered myself to my bedroom in my house. Horrible relationship with my parents. Was bullied at school. So then I tried to kill and I went through, actually, before I go into that, I went through all types of counseling, psychotherapy, family therapy for 10 fucking years. And it didn't help me. I mean, it was lovely to have someone listen to me for 50 minutes once a week so I could unload all the stuff on my mind. But it didn't give me any strategies for making me want to live or to be a healthy individual. So by the time next week rolled round in the next session, I was still suicidal. I was still fucking miserable. Had no social skills, sequestered myself to my bedroom, still fought with my parents and was bullied at school. Nothing changed. So then I tried to kill myself and it didn't work. Then I got really serious about it because I'm a pretty committed individual, Bobby. I tried a second time, but this time I was bloody serious. It's bloody serious about killing myself. And I failed and it didn't work. Then I was 16, 17 at the time. And I'm like, all right, if this killing myself stuff ain't working and the therapy, traditional models ain't working, I better find another fucking way to heal myself. So then on British TV, in case my accent didn't give it away, I'm from London, England. Prime time on a Monday evening for about 5 years, 8 p.m. on ITV, which is our equivalent of NBC, if you will. There was a TV show called The Hypnotic World of Paul McKenna. And it was a 30-minute show, and I call it a dog and pony show. It's like the hypnosis show that you'd see in Vegas, where the hypnotist would hypnotize someone to moonwalk like Michael Jackson, to sing like Lady Gaga, to strip tease, but it was prime time, but it wasn't X-rated, so he let them leave some clothes on. But it was that kind of show. It wasn't therapeutic, but it grew big audiences. Now I'm a kid. And this is really before the internet. We're talking like 94, 95. So before the internet was a big thing, there was no YouTube. I'm a kid. I'm seeing this thing on TV. So I think it must be real. It's on TV. If it's on TV, it must be real. Because they don't put unreal things on TV, right? So I watched this show, watch him making this one moonwalk like Jackson, this one sing or dance like Mick Jagger, this one sing like Madonna. I'm like, oh shit, if he can hypnotize these people like that to have these skills, maybe he could hypnotize me to want to live and to actually get involved with life and start to live life and to fucking heal myself. Lo and behold, every Sunday in England, we had a newspaper called The News of the World, and it was our #1 newspaper. And Sunday was the biggest sales day. And on the back of this newspaper, there was a little ad. It was like the whole page, and it was for Supreme Self-Confidence, an audio cassette. So it wasn't even a CD. It wasn't a download. It wasn't an MP3. It was a bloody audio cassette. That's how old it was. And it was send £12.97, which is about $20. Cut it out of the newspaper, send it to us, and within 4 weeks, we'll send you back the audio tape. And it was from the guy that I'd been watching for 5 years on primetime TV. And he was promising supreme self-confidence. I was pretty shy, pretty antisocial, a lot of anxiety, suicidal. I figured this supreme self-confidence, that would really help me. And it has to work. Because the guy's on TV every week on prime time, must be real. So my belief filters were filled up. And I could afford it because I had like a Saturday job as a busboy, essentially. I hated it. People were really mean to me there. But I made a little bit of pocket money, and I didn't really have to interact with many people because I was just like taking the tray and cleaning it, right, backstage in the kitchen. So my sister wrote a check, cut a check, sent it off. Then I eagerly awaited this audio cassette for 4 weeks. Finally, it came, and the instructions were very specific. Listen to side A, which was 22 minutes. Then flip it over, because you'd have to flip over the audio cassettes. Don't know that now of MP3s, right? And side 2 was also 22 minutes, but it was the hypnotic portion. Side A was to get me mentally prepared consciously for what was going to happen. And side 2 was the actual hypnosis. So I bloody listened to it every day, religiously, because what else was I going to do? And that stupid, generic, one-size-fits-all, $20 audio cassette changed my life. More than 10 years of fucking psychotherapy, counseling, trying to kill myself, family therapy. So once it changed my life, I'm like, holy shit, there must be something to this. There must be something to this. If it can like help me save my life, there must be something to it. So that was when I was 17. I'm now 45, and now I don't look it. So that this odyssey has been about, what's that, 28 years? If my math is right. And I spent, over the last 28 years, I've spent way too much money traveling the world to learn from, to model people that are far smarter, far more elegant than me on how to do change work, hypnosis, neuro-linguistic programming, EMDR, which is a name for getting your eyes to move in a certain way to process trauma, learning the shamanistic art of Huna, which originates from Hawaii, which is a beautiful healing art. and many, many other things that I've learned to help me be the best that I can be when I'm working with someone. Now, I specialize, as I say, in binge drinking. I work with a lot of issues, but a lot of people come to see me for binge drinking. And I did not choose this niche. This niche chose me. And I just noticed that women, for some reason, between the ages of 27 to 57, would reach out for my help. And when I started to notice this pattern to stop binge drinking, I'm like, what are the characteristics here? Because I hadn't had, although I've got a shitload of videos out there, like 1,500 on my YouTube, there wasn't a lot of stuff on binge drinking, and it certainly wasn't directed with the language into women, right? But women 27 to 57 who specifically binge drink, they could go days, weeks without drinking, then suddenly they'd have a night and they would be drinking copious amounts of alcohol. They'd find me. And when I spoke to these women, they were really smart. They were really successful. They were like lawyers. They were realtors, ran their own businesses, usually had a family as well. And to their friends, they kept themselves in good shape, looked good. And if you'd ask their friends, we'll call her Sarah. I call my typical client Sarah. Like, tell us about Sarah. They typically say, well, Sarah's amazing. She runs a family, runs a business, looks great. She's got all her frigging ducks in a row. They wouldn't know that Sarah had successful marriage. They wouldn't know that Sarah had this dirty little secret that at least 3 times a week after 6 p.m., she would drink copious amounts of alcohol because it would help her cope with her week, because there's so much stress that she was putting on herself that her only way of having a respite in her mind was to drink copious amount. Now, she wasn't an alcoholic because she could stop at any time, and she only did this 1 to 3 times a week, and it was only between 6 and 12. And she could operate really well at work at running her business. She could run her family very well, be a great wife, but when no one is around, she would be downing copious amounts of alcohol to somehow manage her week. And when I asked her, why did you do this? Which is quite a dumb question to ask. Therapy always asks why. Well, why? Why are you depressed? Well, my mum didn't love me. Well, why don't you stop? Oh, because all addiction's physical. It's all physical, and there's no way my brain can override my body. So asking why someone has a problem, which most therapy does, and I distinguish myself as a change worker. For me, therapy is, why are you broken? Let me, oh, well, this happened, and this relationship, and this job, and I was bullied, and I was hurt, and that keeps people locked. For me, I say this with all empathy, I don't give a fuck why people do what they do, right? Because most people know why. Well, I drink too much to forget about my day. I drink too much to get over a breakup. I drink too much because I've been grieving the loss of a loved one. I drink too much because the world is just overwhelming to me. What does that say? That doesn't help me to help them. It doesn't help the person. I care about I care about how people do it. How people do the binge drinking, how people do the addiction, the unconscious stuff, the stuff below the level. Because oftentimes when people start talking with me, they'll tell me the same story they told the counselor, the psychotherapist, in group if they went to AA, to their best friends, and it's all just masturbation. It's just surface level bullshit that they've told everyone else. So 9 out of 10 words, and I say this with all love and respect, 9 out of 10 words that my clients tell me to begin with, I just disregard, because it's all surface. It's all bullshit. It's all conscious. But then I'll catch a certain word that they say, that they lean on a little bit. Their physiology will shift when they say something. Something will happen, and I'm watching them the whole time. Like, hey, what just happened then? And then they start to, what do you mean what just happened then? Well, when you just answered, you just took a big deep breath in, and your color just changed in your whole body, and there was a shift. What just happened then? And it stopped. And they go into this weird form of hypnosis because they have to go inside. Oh yeah, Luke, when you said about like binge drinking, suddenly I had this tightness in my solar plexus. This darkness came inside my body. I had this flashback to when I was 5 and I saw my mum down in a bottle of vodka. And I just thought about my partner, my boyfriend, my husband who just left me. But they weren't ever going to bring any of this stuff up because it was that micro moment that was the real stuff that needed to be healed. So oftentimes, well, how it always works, Bobby, is as someone finds me, is we have a free 1 hour screening call. They fill out a questionnaire beforehand, so I know what the call's about. And the call is just really for me to see if I can work with them and if they're prepared to do the work that's going to be needed to overcome it. And you know, more than a few amount of times, I'll say to people, I don't think this is going to work, you and I, because I just know they're not ready. And I've been doing this 25 years now, and I'm pretty good at knowing when someone's ready. And the people that are left, I make it very clear you're going to do some work. People have a misconception that hypnosis is that I am going to have my magic wand. Sorry, I don't have a magic wand, but you can imagine this pen is a magic wand. And they're going to come in for an hour session, and I'm going to do some hocus pocus alakazam. They're going to close their eyes. They're going to emerge 55 minutes later, and their problem's going to be gone. The binge drinking, the alcoholism, the chronic pain, the PTSD. And that's it. And as good as I am at my job, and I'm pretty bloody good at what I do, I make it clear this is not how hypnosis works. It's an active participation, meaning you are going to actively have to work to heal yourself. Now, I'm pretty good as a facilitator. I'm pretty good at leading you through the steps, but you got to bloody do all the work yourself. Now, I can cut a shitload of time, so you don't need to be doing this for years. Typically, someone will see me for no more than 3 sessions, Bobby, and they're done. And 3 sessions is a bit long, to be honest. And I've got ADD, another problem I have. I get bored quickly, so I have to go bloody fast, right? And I'm not really what you call a people person. So I like to get people in, empower them, and respectfully, I want my clients to say to me, Luke, once the work is done, generally no more than 3 sessions, they have a big shit-eating smile on their face, in which they say, Luke, I hope I fucking never see you again, but great working with you. To which I say, great fucking working with you. I hope I never see you again, unless you have a different problem you want to work through rapidly. I think sometimes in traditional therapy, sometimes traditional therapy works for people. And if it works for you, more power to you. If you go in with a problem and you can leave without it, I'm not married to hypnosis or HUNA or EMDR. If the fucking technique works for you, more power to you. Unfortunately, the statistics show us when it comes to therapy, talk therapy, counseling, psychotherapy, oh, tell me your problem. And I'm sitting here making notes. It doesn't work for over 90% of people, which means 90% of people will go in and then they'll leave. And it takes at least 4 years to get any significant movement. This is what Sigmund Freud, the creator of psychotherapy, says. It's going to take a minimum of 4 years of you seeing me, the creator of psychotherapy, 3 times a week for us to even get any movement in your problem. I don't know about you, but I get bored really quickly. I don't want to have the same fucking problem 4 years from now. Give me a new problem. That's exciting. The same fucking problem 3 times a week. It's a shitload of money as well. It's boring. I don't want to be someone's hired friend. I believe that when someone finds me, they've exhausted traditional methods, counseling, psychotherapy, EMDR in and of itself, the eye movement deal. Many of my clients have gone to AA. They've gone to rehabs, not just one, not just 2, but multiple rehabs. I had a client, when we added up all of these rehabs, Bobby, it was about $750,000 worth of rehabs, and none of it worked. And in his own words, Luke, it was a glorified country club. There was a lot of like really cool people in there. It was a lovely breakfast. The grounds were really nice. This group therapy was a bit weird, but it was very interesting to hear other people's problems. And I didn't drink for a month, 28 days. But as soon as I left, guess what I did? Went to the bar across the street and I started drinking again. I'm like, that's probably the most expensive drink you've ever had, isn't it? He's like, yeah. I have another lot of clients, Bobby, that go to AA. And listen, if AA works for you, and my definition of work is this: you go in, you have a set amount of time to work through something, a session, 3 sessions, whatever it is. And then once it's complete, you don't need to go back anymore. You don't need to be going back for 30 years. Even though you haven't drunk, but you still go back for 30 years, once a week, to say, my name's Luke and I'm an alcoholic. But you stopped 30 fucking years ago and you haven't drunk since. So isn't that disempowering just to say the words, my name is and I'm an alcoholic? It's 30 fucking years ago. Bobby, I don't know about you, but 30 years ago, I was a fan of Kiss, the band. I don't disacknowledge it. I was a bloody fan of Kiss. Not anymore. I grew up. There was a period of time where I enjoyed their music. I liked the clothes that they wore. It's 30 bloody years ago. Not anymore. I grew. So I hate anything that disempowers people. And I know that people have joined the cult of AA and they'll fight and they'll fight. To which I say, they're like, oh, it works for me. To which I say, if it works for you, amazing. They're like, yeah, it works for me and I go every week. Well, if it worked for you, why would you need to go every week? It's either you're either an alcoholic or you're not. You're either a binge drinker or you're not. You're either pregnant or you're not. You can't be a little bit of an alcoholic. You can't be a little bit of a binge drinker. You either are or you're not. So going back to something for 30 years, and my philosophy, and I think we share this a bit, Bobby, is statistically AA has about a 93% foul rate, which means 93% of people that would do AA will continue to drink and will continue to drink more. It works for 7% of people. And if you're in that 7%, good bloody work, good job. But for 93% of people, they go in, and I equate it a bit like a prisoner. Let's say you commit a petty crime like theft. You steal a loaf of bread. You steal a beverage from your shop, and you get put in prison or jail, whatever you call it in America, for 6 months. You've done a petty crime. That's all you've done. But now you're in a prison where there is murderers. There is rapists. There's armed robbers, the hardest of the harder. And I'm not saying the people who drink or AA that you have in those kind of characters. This is just merely a metaphor. But now you're around real criminals every day who have done terrible stuff. And what do they say? You become your level of intelligence, I think it is the top 5 people you're hanging around. Your level of happiness is based on the top 5 people you hang around. You're in prison for 6 months or a year. You're in AA 6 months, a year, 30 years. My name's Luke, I'm an alcoholic. My name's Stan, I'm an alcoholic. My name's Sarah, an alcoholic. Every bloody week. You want to talk about hypnosis? People like, hypnosis, does that work? Look at bloody religion. I don't care if you're religious or not. More power to you if you believe in it, but you don't believe in hypnosis, but you believe in this higher power that you've never seen, that you've never touched, and that this person's going to heal you. You know, I guess the jury's out on it. We won't know till we die. But for me, I want to give people I don't want to give them, they've got it. I want to redirect people so they have the agency to help heal themselves. People are, oh my God, Luke, at the end of a session, Bobby, when I used to start off, I used to love my ego, very egocentric when I was younger. Oh, Luke, you healed me. Oh, where AA failed, where rehab failed, oh, Luke, you healed me. You're so great. It used to make me feel really good. And I used to accept it. Why wouldn't I? Oh, it means I'm really good at my job. But then I realized as I got older and I got smarter, by me accepting that I healed them, it absolved them of any responsibility in their own problem. And it also made the problem outside of them because he fixed me. I didn't fix anyone. I've been doing this 25 years, Bobby, not just on alcohol, but conservatively over 2,000 people I've helped with alcohol issues. and a lot of them get great results. And what I mean by results is they don't do it anymore. And how do I know that? Is a follow up with them. Some people even make little videos to me, leave testimonials. Did I fix any of them? Fuck no. How could I? I do everything over Zoom right now. I'm not even in the same bloody room as them. How could I fix anyone? But I also say to my clients, but you didn't fix you either, at least not consciously. Because if you could have consciously, with your conscious mind, with your adult mind, would have fixed your problem, you would have done it the first time you realized you had a problem. They're like, right. But your unconscious, your subconscious, we talked a little bit about it before going on air, Bobby, the shadow work, all the stuff that's going on under the surface, that's the real issue. And once that stuff is healed, I'll help you, I'll direct people, but they'll be doing the heavy lifting. But once they're healed, they just don't have any desire to drink anymore. Could they physically, do they have the motor units in their body to pick up a bottle and to drink it? Well, absolutely. I haven't chopped off their arms or legs. I haven't bottomized their brain and taken a piece of their brain out. They could always actually do it, but they just don't want to. In my studies and interviewing a lot of clients I've worked with, Bobby, when it comes to alcohol, it's just a symptom. The alcohol is just a symptom. The smoker who oversmokes, the smoking is just a symptom. The client who shoots up too much heroin, their heroin is just a symptom. The client who dates the same person but with 100 different faces is just a symptom. If we deal with the symptom, it's about putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. It may stop bleeding for a while, but then you'll start bleeding somewhere else. So when actually I work with people over alcohol, very little of our conversation is about alcohol, except for the free screening call. When we work, I'm doing other stuff with them. We're shifting here. We might never talk about alcohol again because we're doing a lot of that shadow work, a lot of the releasing, the old programming, the old brainwashing that they've received unconsciously, healing a lot of the emotions. The anxiety, the sadness, the depression, the anger, the guilt, the shame that they may have not ever connected. So when we're done, I'm like, hey, so do you want to drink? They're like, no. And I never believe people, by the way. I'm watching their physiology. It's not like, oh, do you want to drink? And they lean forward. Oh, no, I don't want to drink. But it's like, nah, all right, good, thanks. I used to do it. Like I used to listen to Kiss. I just don't want it anymore. Because they've healed. They've healed themselves. And it doesn't take years. That's a lie, they tell you, to take money from you. I see the time.
Can you see the time? Can you see the time? We have, yeah. I tell you what, oh, you can see it over there. Good. 8 minutes.
Yeah, I got you.
I tell you what, you unpacked a lot, everything you're saying, I can relate. There's a couple things that, I do on my podcast, and there's few, it's just little tiny threads. Just the wording, alcoholic, I don't even use it anymore. Alcoholism, I don't even use it anymore. Disease, you're with me on all this stuff. Powerless, I'm powerless. No, we don't use that anymore. We don't even call addicts. Addicts, that's a label. We don't call them addicts, alcoholics. We call them, look, the new contemporary word is addiction. It used to be called habits, okay? So what we're doing is we're helping people. We're pointing the way, just like you say, hypnosis, through, hey, you said it. We go into a trance when we go into an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. They put us into a trance, okay? They're programming us subconsciously, subliminally, osmosisly. It's all in our minds. We're absorbing this subconsciously, unconsciously, and we're not aware of a lot of stuff. So we're going into a trance. I liked a lot what you had to say. I mean, I liked everything you had to say, really. And when this program would talk about creating your own program, and you said it. A lot of people won't say it, but we're the pointers to the way, but the people are the way. It has to come from them. They have to take participant. They have to be responsible, and they have to empower themselves, even though you are directing them, facilitating them, pointing them to the way, going deep. You're going deep down a rabbit hole inside of them. I believe this inside of us is the God that they talk about. It's right here.
Yes.
We are God. We're all creators. We're all prophets. People think prophets look a certain way. No, we're all prophets in our own sense. We're all healers. We're all teachers. We're all students. So I'll tell you what, this was a great podcast. We got 6 minutes left.
Sometimes they think prophets have beards, accents, and long hair, and I don't know where that came from. But yeah, I when I hear a disease, straight away, and people when I go against an AA or the term disease, I think people feel attacked. And that's never my job. I'm never attacking people. I'm never attacking people that they're suffering or that they're going through some stuff and they need some help to overcome it. And I think sometimes people think, oh, he's anti-AA. That just means he thinks that we're just doing it consciously, deliberately. We've got full cognition of it, full control. No, no, no. I don't think any of that at all. I think you're bloody suffering. You're in pain. Mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, whatever the hell that is to you, right? Literally. And you need help. I get it. I just, with the studies and field research of doing this for 25 years now, absolutely don't think AA or rehab are the best ways to heal yourself. And when people say it's a disease, and I really go against that word, no, it's not. It's a particular habit or a behavior that you feel is running unconsciously and that you have no control of. And that makes you feel scared. You're overwhelmed. I get it. I'm not saying it's easy living with it. I'm not saying it's easy to let go of it, but it's probably a lot easier than you imagine. No, but it's not a disease. But I think it can fuck people's lives up. It can end people's life. It can give people a miserable life. I fully accept that. But a disease, no. It's just a bad behavior that somehow got wired into you. Maybe it was through a trauma. Maybe it was through learning by osmosis, your family, your friends, and it got reinforced over time. This is all hypnosis, by the way. It's all stuff that's going on under the surface. It's a lot easier if I say to you as a grown ass man now, Bobby, you're going to be an alcoholic. Anytime you pick up a beer, you're going to be an alcoholic. You can resist it because you're an intelligent man who's lived a life whose critical factor is now come in the way and can help you make better decisions. But when you're younger or more vulnerable, or when there's a trauma that happens in your life. And when I say trauma, it doesn't have to be the end of the world. It could be at school, your best friend didn't want to play with you anymore. It could be you lost a job, you were bullied, your partner left you, you were in an accident, you got fired, you got attacked. It could be anything on a small scale to a large scale. But when a trauma happens to us, our unconscious, our subconscious, our monkey mind is open, and it's a lot easier at that point to get suggestions in. And a lot of those suggestions are shitty suggestions. Like alcohol is going to soothe your problems. Alcohol is going to make all your problems go away. Which is, at the time, it goes past a critical factor and it becomes a suggestion in hypnosis. And then lo and behold, 10 years down the line, you've pissed away most of your life, binge drinking, you didn't realize why. Well, that's why. It's one of the reasons potentially why.
Luke, let's give them a little shout out. Where can they go to find you on YouTube? Tell everyone where they can get you at the website. Let's give a shout out.
I'll do that. Thank you. Yeah, so my website is stopbingedrinking.com. So stopbingedrinking.com. You can sign up for my free 10 video series. There's a lot of content, gospel that I drop on you there. It's like about 4 hours of free content. It's not therapy, it's not hypnosis, but it's talking about the what behind binge drinking. So you can sign up for free, stopbingedrinking.com. My other website is Lukenosis, LUKENOSIS.com, and all my other non-alcohol stuff is on there. If you go on YouTube, if you go on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, it's Lukenosis. Search Lukenosis, LUKENOSIS.com, and all my stuff will come up there for you.
Beautiful, beautiful. And everybody could come over to the Anonymous Addiction Deprogramming Podcast right on YouTube. We're going to be sending this out to YouTube in a few minutes. Check me out on TikTok. I'm over here on TikTok as Bobby C sees it. Okay. My truth about AA, deprogramming everything. Okay. This is just, hey, you think Alcoholics Anonymous would deprogramming? I had to deprogram my religion, deprogram me about government. I was addicted to government authority. I'm still in the deprogram podcast.
Yeah.
Check me out on Instagram. I'm on Instagram. I'm on X over there at X. X, I'm not, I don't know why, but X ain't doing me that great over there. I don't know what's happening with that X. But it's so great to have you on, Luke. Let's see, I got a minute left. It's really great to have you on. You know what? We're gonna stay in touch because
Absolutely, Bobby.
Yeah, man, you resonate with a lot of different things that you sounded out on, man, and beautiful, great stuff. I'm. It's just good to have somebody that you could, if I was right there with you, I'd give you a hug, man. I'd say, let's go out and have a nice water or whatever, a cup of coffee, or let's just hang out.
Zero sugar.
That's it. Whatever. There we go. All right.